Good afternoon to you. I'm Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to our video discussion for today, Monday, March 17th, 2025. And yes, you are looking at the thumbnail right. This is a tropical weather outlook because we have an area of interest in the Atlantic right now on March 17th. It's not going to amount to much, but the National Hurricane Center did post an area of interest in the Atlantic today. Caught the weather community by quite surprise. Everybody's talking about it. But no, it will not develop. In fact, I'll bring you to the National Hurricane Center homepage right now. And let's really quickly look at the 7-day outlook. You could see the National Hurricane Center is only giving this a 10% chance over the next 48 hours and 7 days. Although this is an interesting low, I guess they decided to post this area of interest due to shipping and marine interests that are out here in the Atlantic. Sure, this even if this were to develop, this will probably be some sort of fish storm that won't impact humans on land, but there's still shipping interests and marine interests and other kinds of interests that does impact humans. So it is important that they do issue this outlook. But once again, it won't develop. I'll show you the satellite imagery in just a little bit, but there is a huge system off the East Coast bringing dreary weather to the Northeast today. Kind of the general system associated with the severe weather we had this past weekend. This is going to get absorbed by that. Plus, conditions are not really favorable. It's March. For crying out loud, it's March. And obviously things are not conducive, and we'll go over all the factors in just a moment. But once again, very low chances for development. And they also say that they're not going to issue any other tropical weather outlooks. This is the only one that they're doing on this system. And of course, they're going to go back to their regular tropical weather outlooks after this on May 15th when they typically do so. So let's look at the satellite imagery and just show you where this system is. This is it right here. This was the only really good satellite imagery I was able to find of this area up close. And it's not really good satellite shot, but you could still generally see the system here. Definitely a low pressure has some spin to it. It also has kind of the comma shape that you somewhat see in developing or kind of these non-tropical frontal systems that sometimes try to develop and become subtropical systems, especially during the hurricane season. But one thing you do notice is that we do have some convection, but it is not persistent. And it definitely, kind of waxes and wanes, and especially in the last few frames, you see convection kind of waning. So atmospherically, that tells you that we're not really that conducive. And then, of course, you see we have a very huge front off the East Coast, once again bringing very dreary and cloudy and rainy weather to the Northeast and generally New England throughout today. As we move into tomorrow, this system is going to move, this low pressure is going to move to the northwest and eventually get absorbed in this huge frontal system. And of course, because of that, we will not really see much of anything amount to it. Once again, the National Hurricane Center only giving this a 10% chance. And as well with sea surface temperatures too. Generally across the Atlantic, we do have some warm sea surface temperatures, but where this area is, I think it's generally in here, roughly right around 25 north and around 55 west in longitude. Sea surface temperatures are somewhat marginal, 24 degrees Celsius. The typical we look at for tropical development is 26 degrees Celsius, but sometimes when it comes to subtropical development, meaning, of course, whatever kind of system that we have right now, of course, if it were to develop, it's not going to. But if this were to develop, you would probably assume it would be more subtropical in nature. And subtropical systems do sometimes tend to get by on marginal sea surface temperatures, roughly right around 24 to 22 degrees Celsius, because once again, if you're familiar, subtropical systems are slightly different in that they take energy from the ocean and from atmospheric processes rather than fully tropical systems. They entirely base their heat source off of warm waters, usually like we have down here in the Caribbean, at least 26 degrees Celsius and higher. So the sea surface temperatures are marginal, so I guess it's not terrible in that aspect, but obviously it gets colder as we move to the northwest, but atmospherically not conducive, especially with the wind shear. And you see this graph that I use always throughout the hurricane season. This represents the wind shear in the Atlantic right now. And as per usual for March, all red, all very, very high, strong upper level winds, high wind shear values throughout the entire Atlantic. And obviously, as you know, for subtropical and tropical development, wind shear is not conducive. So let's show what the future, what the fate of this low pressure system is, and I'll show you on the GFS. Here it is, just northeast away from the Windward Islands, kind of just out in the open Atlantic. And if we take out the GFS into time, first of all, you can see that there is a little bit of energy associated with this storm. There's a little bit of spin. Vorticity is definitely there, and you definitely have some sort of low pressure that is defined, but go out into time 6 to 12 hours, and then eventually, already by hour 24, heading into tomorrow. This is 18Z Tuesday, so this is tomorrow afternoon. We go from what it is right now on the model today to tomorrow, just within a span of 24 to 30 hours. This low pressure completely disintegrates. And then you can see we have a very strong front moving off the East Coast, and we get a very large low pressure to develop. And by then, this is hour 54 and hour 60. You can barely even see a trace of where this low pressure was, completely absorbed within this large system that is out in the Atlantic, and then that moves along, and then we get another system up along the East Coast as we head in towards the end of the week. So generally, you could see from the model, this is really not going to amount to much. It's a weak low pressure right now, weak enough, once again, as I just showed you, it's going to get absorbed, and we're probably not even going to be talking about any such thing by tomorrow. But interesting nonetheless. Already one down, first AOI that we had of the 2025 hurricane season. And really quickly, if you think this means anything for what we might have this hurricane season, it really doesn't. Sometimes we kind of get these low pressures in the off season that the National Hurricane Center does take a little bit interest to. I think we actually had one last year in April. So there's that. And usually sometimes they don't develop, sometimes they do, sometimes they become off-season tropical systems. This one obviously won't, but it, I guess, is somewhat of a reminder that we are now in mid-March, and hurricane season is not that far away. We're definitely, I think, roughly, probably, maybe even less than 80 days away from the start of hurricane season, which officially in the Atlantic is on June 1st. So we're getting closer, and before you know it, we will actually be in hurricane season, and we will probably get these AOIs that'll probably end up developing into our first system eventually. But that's just a quick, update to go over what's happening in the Atlantic right now. Obviously, since, we did have this very strange area of interest. Yes, it is an area of interest the National Hurricane Center monitored, but of course, if you watch today's video, the main takeaway is no, it will not develop, and no, hurricane season is not about to start in March. But hurricane season is definitely not far off, and just a few weeks' time, we'll be there. Thanks for watching today's video. I'm going to post probably some more videos throughout the week on United States weather. We have more severe weather to talk about coming this weekend, so we'll talk about that, and also some other active weather in terms of winter, and also fire danger as well. We'll probably go over that tomorrow. and later this week. So stay tuned for that. Like, comment, subscribe if you want those videos, you want to get notified. And also you want to get notified when we're actually in hurricane season for these tropical weather outlooks. Definitely encourage you to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, do all that good stuff. Stay safe. Peace, love, and kindness to you all. Hope you enjoyed. And I'm very sure we'll be talking again very, very soon.